welcome to your shadow work reading. This is shadow work number 51. So if you've seen the Sigil, you're in a situation where it's all about your beliefs that you are not seeing clearly enough that is in charge of you at this time. There is nothing more dangerous than a belief. A belief is a cognitive, it's a mental bias. A belief can cause someone to start a war. It can even cause someone to kill themselves, ruin a relationship, never go for what they really want, or do all the wrong things for themselves or for someone else, thinking that what they're doing is right. This list goes on and on and on. If a thought is repeated often enough, we usually end up believing it to be true. We adopt beliefs from people who adopt those beliefs from other people who adopt them from other people, and so on and so forth. You see where this is going? With so many of our beliefs, we do not even know their origin. Where does it begin? Where did it start? We don't actually know if the belief we hold are accurate or not. And we tend to believe things because many other people do. It's kind of like a societal pressure. We construct beliefs due to our experiences. These beliefs are stories we tell ourselves to make sense of things, but yet again, we don't know whether or not these beliefs are accurate, and yet we live our lives according to them. And people go hard for their beliefs, not knowing what the origin is. We also tend to search for and only see information that confirms the belief we already have, and also seek for that information for validation. We hold on to beliefs long after they have been disproven. So even if somebody proves something and it's very valid, people tend to hold on to the beliefs. If we are present with two ideas, actually one video you can watch is, not video, but the song is Very Superstitious by Stevie Wonder. Will give you some insight. If we are presented with two ideas, one that is difficult to understand and process and one that is easy to understand and process, we tend to believe that the idea that is true is the one that is easier to understand and process, because if it is easier to understand and process, it must be true. It takes less brain power. This means so much misinformation abounds in our lives, and we are operating in such a cognitively limited way in a box that we often cannot see the truth of a given situation. When you are in a situation that is causing you to experience strong negative emotions, you have the perfect opportunity to discover your negative core beliefs at the same time. You can do this by chasing every statement you have with two questions. You ready? Write this down. Why would that be a bad thing? What would it mean if that were true? For example, you may be in a situation where you are afraid of feeling of something. The statement, I am afraid I will fail, is not the core belief. It is an emotional reaction to the actual core belief. You can drill down and find the core belief by asking, why would that be a bad thing? Why would failing be a bad thing? The answer may be, because I'll look stupid. I don't want everybody to see me fall, whatever the situation is. You then ask yourself, well, why would that be a bad thing? Well, why would that be looking stupid upon people? Why would people look at me as stupid? The answer may be, other people will think I'm stupid. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. Then ask yourself, why would that other or all those people, why are they thinking that I'm stupid? Why is that a bad thing? The answer may be, I will be rejected from that group, from that population, whoever you're trying to impress. Then ask, well, what would that mean to me if that were true? If I was to be rejected, how would I feel about that? The answer might be, I would feel worthless. I would feel alone. I would feel like I'm not a part of the crew, the clique. I'm not in the in crowd. I'm not keeping up with the Joneses, yada, yada, yada. Then ask, why would that be a bad thing? So why would that feeling of worthlessness and being alone be a bad thing? The answer might be, I would never be happy if I'm alone. Then link the first statement to the last statement. So the first statement of why would failing be a bad thing, and link it up to, well, why would that worthlessness feeling be a bad thing? Why being alone is a bad thing? All right, so link those two together. Hopefully you wrote them down, right? To see the belief clearly that is currently at play. In this scenario, it would be, if I fail, I will never be happy because I will be alone. The negative core belief in this case is, I will never be happy if I'm alone. And the link is, if I fail, I will never be happy because I will be alone. You have chased down the root, the core of why you're afraid of failing. Often there is more than one layer to a core belief. And it is different from different people. So another person might have the same fear and feeling, but they might hold a very different core belief behind it. Okay? That's why no judgment. When you find a core belief within yourself, the belief itself may often sound totally illogical to you. It might even seem ridiculous, to your logical mind. It's good when you have this reaction to a core belief because it means that it will be easier to start to introduce thoughts that are the opposite of that belief. It's easier to talk oneself out of a belief that seems ridiculous than one that makes sense. But you must realize that even though it seems ridiculous, it definitely has a belief of yours, and it has rendered physical manifestations to match it. So it's a core belief that is affecting you greatly and preventing you from feeling good. It's starting to create an aura because it's getting heavy. Uncovering your beliefs is a process that takes some time and practice. It's not easy to get past the surface layer of your thoughts, feelings, and reactions to find the beliefs that are beneath them, but it's highly beneficial exercise to you in knowing who you are. Once you have identified your self-limiting core beliefs, you can look at them and decide what you would rather believe. You can work on changing them one by one. It's okay, you got time. Before you begin to do this, before you begin to do this, let's just do an analogy that will help you understand how beliefs work. Just imagine a table. The top of the table represents the belief itself. The leg of the table represents the evidence that you are using to support that belief. And then picture that there is a super glue that secures the table legs to the floor, and that the super glue represents the emotional payoff for keeping the belief. In order to replace the belief, you will have to do the following. Number one, decide if the emotional payoff makes keeping the belief worth the harm that the belief causes. If you decide that the emotional payoff of keeping that core belief isn't worth it, and that you are ready to replace it with a different belief, that decision dissolves the old belief from sticking to you in the same way that you would dissolve the super glue that keeps the legs on the table stuck to the floor. Next, number two, you have to knock the legs of the old belief out from under the table. You can do this by shooting holes in the evidence that you are using to support your old belief, and do it to such a degree that the evidence no longer holds true. When you have done this, the top of the table, which is the belief itself, will fall because it would no longer have any legs to stand on. Number three, now you get to decide, on a new tabletop, you like better, of course, you know what I'm saying? And you do this by picking a belief you would rather believe, right? Despite what's going on around you. Then, next step, number five, then you have to build new legs under the new belief to uphold the tabletop, meaning you have to go looking for new evidence evidence to support your new belief. Finally, number 6, you have to add super glue that will secure that new table to the floor by finding that emotional payoff for your new belief. You then start enjoying the fruits of your labor and the payoff of your new beliefs. If you are seeing the sigil, one belief or more that you are holding is making it impossible for you to see what is true. Unless, however, you become aware of it, consciously, physically, spiritually aware of it, you will be acting on this information. You must identify, question,